Jordan Fox here, just going to be doing some restringing today, so I thought I would take you through my process as well as the tools that I use to make it a lot easier for you. Today I'm going to be stringing a Type 1 Delf body. There are 4 different types and they all have different looks to them. Some have extra little knee caps, some have neck donuts, some have little neck keys instead. I got this body pretty cheap for $50 off the marketplace, so I don't really have a head specifically for it yet, but I will use this 08 man head, which is more of a senior Delf size, and just to kind of show you like how the pieces go together. But this head will probably look pretty silly on top of it because it is larger. So Delf bodies, like I said, there's different types. The Type 1 came with these little neck donuts, and so how those work is the string goes on the S hook and then the S hook just ends up sitting in here. Now over time you can kind of see that this is warped, so they changed them to Type 2 neck keys. And so what those look like is this is a Type 2 body here, and you can see there's a little thing inside and you just like switch it out that way and then the head comes right off, which makes it a lot easier for things like changing clothes and that kind of stuff. Now normally the neck keys are the same color as the doll, but I had a friend of mine, Dreamforest Dolls, print this for me because they're really hard to find unless you're going to buy like a whole body. So if you're looking for a Type 2 neck key, you can get them from Dreamforest Dolls on Instagram, and they work really well. So as you can see, the string just goes over top and then the head slides on just like that. You turn the key and then the head stays on like that. So this one, however, is going to be the neck donut type, and so I tend to try and double these up or use hot glue to kind of keep them into their shape, so that when the S hook is in there, if you're moving the head around, it's not going to slide out. They don't usually, but when they're warped, I just get a little bit more cautious about it. So, okay, so let's go on to string. There are different gauges of string that you can get. So if you're not sure what kind, usually for a Delf body this size, you're going to want a 2.5 millimeter string, and that's like how thick it is around. So you can see here I've got 3 different thicknesses, and so my top string I would probably use for something like a USD. This middle one would be a little bit closer to an SD size doll, and then this one I think it's more of like a 3.5. It's a little too thick to go into the arms of the dolls. You can see the hole is quite small, so if you try and push that in there, it doesn't go in very easily, although it will go into the leg. That being said, I think the string is too thick. This one would be used more for something like a doll soom or like a 75 centimeter or larger doll. This is what came with the body, which was nice of the person to send, but it's a little bit too thick. Now you can get this string at a fabric store, but when you go in there, just wrap it around your fingers and give it a pull. And if it seems like it's too loose, then it might not be the greatest for the doll. Like I said, I got this at a fabric store. It is a little bit more of like a string, like a pull to it, than something you could buy online. Now on places like Alice's Collections especially, I like to get the little bundles that they have. It gives you 2 pieces of string, one for the arms, one for the legs. It's already pre-measured out, so if you're not really sure about how much string or the width or anything like that, just buy one of the pre-made kits on Alice's Collections and they'll have that sorted out for you. But I'll show you how to measure that in a moment. So the other things I like to have when I'm doing stringing is 2 different colors of these wires. I got mine at the dollar store, and they're just for craft wires. I'm not really sure what you use them for otherwise, but I use them for stringing. And the reason why I give 2 different colors and then bend it in half is just so that I know red is the right side, white is the left side, and then that way I know which side it's coming out which hole. It makes it easier to string, and then you're not going to get confused. Now, these are not always long enough for like the longest part of the leg, which is the bottom. You can see I've got the calf. So usually what I'll do then is I've got this string that this ribbon, sorry, that I use at the bottom parts of dolls, or for dolls that have longer parts. And then it's just a little bit easier. These ends have been melted so that they don't fray. And then you just kind of slide it in to the bottom like this, push the string through. If you can't get the string through, you can always just blow into this end, and then usually that'll make it come out the other end. But as long as the string's pretty good, you can just kind of push it through, and then that should do it. The other thing that I highly recommend is chopsticks. This will prevent when you're pulling the strings through, as you're going through, you're going to slide it through, and then you want to pull the string through the other leg and then slide it through. So it'll look silly because it'll be sitting like this, but that'll prevent any denting happening here. And I have seen people use pens before, but I've also seen pens snap and then there's like blue ink all over your doll, and it's almost impossible to get it off of that. So, okay, so the other thing, obviously scissors, because we want to cut our string. And then how you measure it out is I always put the pieces together first to show me how long that string is going to need to be. And if you don't know by looking which leg goes where, most often they have indicators inside them. So for example, this is the left side, and it has a little L here at the bottom. So that's going to tell me which side we want to do it on. So we're going to put the pieces together. And again, we've got left, right, left. And usually with these caps for the feet, they don't matter often, but this one does have the indicator in them that we're going left and right. Should be right, and then this should be a right as well. This one doesn't say. Now sometimes you can tell if a body is recast because they don't have those indicators inside telling you. This is the left, that's the right, and the hand should be pretty easy. Okay, so now we know generally how long the body is by laying him out this way. And so just take your bundle of string and you want to kind of just like lay it out like this to give it just a general size, and then half. Because what that's going to do is that's going to pull and give the tension that you need all the way to the bottom. Now if your string isn't as stretchy, just give it more space anyways. So this is going to be one leg, so you want like this, right? And then I always give it extra just in case. It also gives room for the knot. So we want to take the top as one loop, and we're just going to tie the 2 open ends together. Nice thing about this is they usually stay pretty good. If not, you can always just give it a daub of hot glue, but I've never had a problem with any strings snapping. And then just pull it as tight as you can. So now it's just one big loop, right? But how you make it 2 legs is you take the very end of the loop here, and you're going to pull that right up to the top, and then you've got 1 leg and 2 legs, just like that. So some people just put the S-hook on right away. I like to do that as well. You can put it in the neck donut. Some of these dolls have a hook in the back of the cap. and then they like hook that into the cap and it keeps the cap on. But that's where these neck donuts come in for dolls. Some of these dolls have notches in them already. I'm going to use the neck donut anyways, just because I want to show you kind of what it looks like. But the easiest way to do that is just make sure by pulling that the strings are the same length, because otherwise tension will be wrong on one leg. Put it through the head, and then you're just going to pull like that. And we're gonna, don't worry, I screwed up all the time. The magnet did not help. And the magnet is not helping me right now, sorry guys. But you just want it to sit in the neck donut like this, and give it a good tug to make sure it's in the right spot. And so just hold it like that, and then that should hold it in place. We're going to take our first body part. I don't use anything here really. Some people like to put the arms on first. That might be a little bit easier for other people. I've been doing this for a long time though, but I just want to show you first how to do the neck through. So you just push it down and it comes out the bottom. And then voila, we've got a head on the body. So that's how you start out, and then I'll push all the pieces aside, give myself the space, and then you just lay him down like that. So you can usually pull like this. This means we've got one leg on each side, and this is usually where I put in my things, my little wires. And so I always do red on the right side, R for right, and then on the left side we're going to do white. So these guys have caps in their hips, not everybody has those. So what we're going to do is look again to make sure we're on the right side, R for red. I'm going to put on this bottom half first. This is why it's important to have these pieces. Pull it through, and through, and then pull, and now we've kind of separated our legs. Left side on the white, and then red. See, this is why the string gauge will make a difference, because the thicker the string, the harder it will be to get it through the leg wells there. So now we're going to start getting onto the legs. So just slide and pull and set it into the hip. See, at this point it doesn't really matter that those strings are loose. And then I'd push them up a little bit just to give yourself the space. So this is where it's really important to have chopsticks. Wooden chopsticks are better because they're not going to dent the resin. The wood will get broken or dented before the resin does, which is obviously more important. Usually you can just pull it out and that'll hold it in place for you. You don't usually have to worry about the string shortening on one side or the other. And then there you go. Now at this point, because the legs are longer, I do pull out the wires now that I've got him situated comfortably. And then we got our longer legs. So what you can do is just pull that out to give it room to push that string through. Just like that. Pull it forward. And put them together so that they're the right size and the same length. And then we're just going to pop it in through the top and just put it like You can see that the hole is quite big in there, but I always just put it up against where the string will mostly sit, so if you can't get it to go through, if you just push it up against, that should work. And just very gently feed that through. And now it's come out the bottom, like that. And so hold on to the string really good while you take that out. Situate the knee, and sometimes I use my mouth. And we've got a string through there. So you could put the feet and the caps on at this point, but I usually like to go one side and then the other to try and keep the strings about the same length. It's really quite easy once you get used to it. It's all just a matter of practice. So as long as you're gentle, don't worry about breaking things. I mean, resin's pretty resilient. And if you get a dent here, you can boil it to put it back together again. So again, we're just going to slide that right up to the front, push it through, make sure there's enough it doesn't fall out as you're going along, and then pull, hold on tight, pull it out, slide your kneecap in, pull, and then slide that in and just gently put it down like that. Okay, so now we've got his leggy legs. Don't forget the cap. So we've got left and right. And then the feet are very obvious which side they should go on. But we're going to do the cap. And then the foot has the anchor on it. Some of them have hooks, so that's why it's really, you have to be careful the kind of tension that you have on your string, because if it's too tight, you can actually pull the hooks out. I've had that happen on Elfdoll. Elfdoll has embedded hooks, but most companies have kind of, you know, little loops like this that you can just put the string on. And so just hold on to it tight, pull it out. I always leave the chopstick in, because if it snaps back, then you're not losing it all the way inside. So now I'm just going to pull out my string, and now I'm going to pull that out and just gently set that in. 1 foot. I find the ribbon invaluable. Some people use string pullers. I don't know why, but I don't really trust string pullers because I've had them break on me before. Now we'll do the right foot through, pull. Pull it in. Take out the string if you want, and then you're just going to put it on the little nozzle there, like that. And then pull it out. So that's how you do the legs. And they should stand pretty good like that. You might have to pose them. If you have trouble because the tension on your string isn't great, you can always use sueding, and there's different kinds. Some people in the joints, they like to use hot glue, but I find that that's a little thick, and sometimes that can cause cracks up in like these parts of the joints here, especially with things like minifee where it's a little bit smaller and thinner at 1/4 size. Or you can get really thin faux suede, and you can actually kind of tell the difference on the sides. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but one side is a little bit more smoother and shinier, and then the other side's got more of like a fuzzy tooth to it. And so what you want to do is when you're cutting your pieces out, you're going to glue the smooth side down so that the toothy side kind of like just gives it a little bit more of an anchor. But if you do hot glue, you just push the nib in and you just kind of swirl it around, and then that gives it a bit more. So now we're going to do the leg, or the arms, sorry. And I'm hoping to find either a Wusu's head for this or a sleeping leash. That would be amazing. Of course, he's going to have to be white skin. I don't know, maybe I'll try my Dolce head on this for a little while. So we're looking in, we got an R here and an R here, so it's the right side. And this hand obviously, and then this one says left. Wait, yeah, left and then right. My brain switches it backwards. Okay, so this is the same thing as you do with the legs, is I lay out the arms as if they are stretched out, just loosely. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just to give me an idea for how long I need this string. I always just eyeball it. I've never had issues with it. My dolls stand really good, and if they don't, the sueding helps, like I said, quite a bit. So we want it to go double that. So we're just going to double it up. Now that's way too long. So what I do is we're just going to shorten that just by eyeballing it. So it looks like it's going about halfway. That's where I would go, is like maybe where the joints go together, and then that gives you a little bit extra string. But this is extra springy, so I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter. And all that kind of stuff just comes with experience. I've been doing this since 2006, so I know quite a bit about these dolls. I've done modding, as you can see. I'm still working on this guy right now. I've done all sorts of things with them that most people probably would be terrified to do. And so the knot, just make sure it's nice and small. If you want, you can cut off this extra stuff. And then just make sure that the knot can fit into the hole, which it does, no problem. And then what I do is red for right. And then I put it around the string so it's on it. I slide the knot in first, because sometimes pulling the knot in after you've got string in there already, it just won't fit. Or you can do this first as well, like I said, a lot of people have that, and then you're just going to slide those in. Try and keep it up and around so it doesn't get tangled around the leg strings. And then usually you can see on the other side, that was a head cap, don't worry, I'm not trashing the place, just the doll. It's going to go around the back of the string like that, and then you just pull it through. So now he's got two little wheedly arms. Hold one side, put it over his head like that, and then that will keep the string in place. If the knot pops out like it just did, you can just move the string along to pop it back in, and then pull like that to make the string longer. Okay, so now we got our little arms, and this is our right hand, so we want the arm cap first. This part's really easy. You don't need the ribbon for this because the arms are short enough. And then we want our hand, and I just pull it out, hold it, pull the string off, and then the little hook, you just hook it right on like that and pull. So obviously this is a little loosey-goosey right now, but that's because the string is tighter on this side. So we're going to turn him around carefully, pull that string back over, and then you want to pull to make sure that the knot isn't coming out. Put our string on there like that, the cap, That's the reason why I like these wires, is because like when it gets all bent all crazy, it's really easy to just put that in there without having to mess around too much. The ribbon I just use, like I said, where I have to. Okay, and then our hand with the hook, we're gonna pull. So this is a little tighter now. As you can see, that was harder to pull out, so I just wrapped it around my fingers. And then we want our hook and pull. So now you can see it's tighter, and so it's just staying up like that for us now. So that's the nice thing. I'm probably not going to suede this guy. If I do, I will make a tutorial on it. And then the head cap, usually it's magnets, or like I said, you can use the hooks to pull it through, but in this case you just snap it on. Some of them twist on. This gentleman here, he's got a twist on. You just like slide it in and then twist it like that, and it's on like that. So for wigs, the reason why this thing is on there, I actually use this to hold wigs on, and sometimes if you have a head cap that doesn't sit properly, you can use this to hide that, and then just put it over the seam like that, and then you got a wig. And that's it. That's all you gotta do. Ta-da! Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you will join me for my next video. I'm going to be doing some more how-tos soon, and we'll see how things go with where we're going. But for now, we're just going to end it with this. Boop. Have a good day.